Well, I know I probably say this every year, but it's hard to believe we're about to kick off another season. When this episode airs, we're only going to be a short 3 days away from Iowa's opener. Fortunately for me, I got to break the ice a couple of times early. I got to hunt Kentucky's opening day and killed a great buck there, and I also just got back from Montana a few days ago and was able to catch up with my first elk. So I'll show some of that footage later, but today's episode is all about starting our main storylines for the season. And sharing our plans for getting on some of these deer. You know, my favorite aspect of bow hunting is targeting specific deer, and I like it for a number of reasons. One, the challenge. Trying to pick out a certain deer, learn as much as you can about them with the goal of ultimately harvesting them is a lot of fun for me. But two, one of the coolest things I've learned over the years is just how individual these bucks are. I've learned that they all have a personality, and you kind of have to tailor how you're hunting them based on that personality. And when I say personality, I mean things like how aggressive are they? I've had bucks in the past that are very aggressive. You can tell a lot of times, even just by the way they work scrapes. Are they more callable because of that? Or things like how big is their core area? Is it a deer that moves a lot in daylight and covers a lot of ground, or is he pretty cored up in a small area? Those are the types of things I love learning individually about a buck and how they change year to year. So I'm just going to start off by talking about some of the deer that are on my radar this year. First and foremost, if you guys remember a Big 10 that I was chasing last year, I hunted him from the ground a lot with a ghillie suit, played cat and mouse with him. It's a Big 10. He is actually back this year. I've only got a couple pictures of him. I don't think he's fully moved onto the property yet. A lot of standing crops, but he is back. He looks good. I don't think he grew a whole lot from last year, but he's just a great framey deer, big mature 10. And again, my favorite part about getting to target this buck is the challenge. I touched on it last year, but the property that he spends a lot of time on is a tough one to hunt. Similar to the really big deer I was hunting last year, there's just not very many tree stand options. So I'm utilizing things like the redneck bale blind. I did find one tree the other day, and I hung a stand in it. I actually built a food plot around that tree just because it's one of the few good options I can hunt from. Great visibility. So I think that's one potential spot to catch up with them, but it'll be fun to, I just set up a cutting link system. It'll be fun to monitor the cameras these next couple weeks, and hopefully he moves on to the property sooner rather than later. You know, we've had a pretty tough drought here in Iowa this summer, and for that reason, a lot of the crops are coming out earlier than normal. And that actually helps the hunting on a lot of properties I have access to, just because I think these bucks especially spend a lot of time in the cornfields during the summer. Less bugs, things like that, and they don't really have to move out of there until the crops get picked. So those crops coming out early is going to help force some of the deer to relocate and find more cover on the properties that I have access to. Second on the list is a deer that I have the sheds to right here, and I talked about him a little bit last year, but I did find his match set, and the sheds, well, essentially the trail cam pictures just absolutely did not do this deer justice. He's way bigger than I thought. I knew he was a good deer. I knew he's fully mature, but I did not expect him to be this big. Found both of his sheds here. And this is a deer that I would love to catch up to because I think he's way past his prime, just based on his body. I've never seen even the 5 or 6 year old animal that had the body that this deer does. I mean, he's abnormally tall. He's kind of got hunched shoulders, just a really big frame deer. I would love to get him on the ground and get him aged just to find out how old he is, because I have a hunch that he's really old. Obviously, I only have 1 year history with him. But one other cool thing, third shed sitting here. This, if you remember, this is a shed that I found back in October on the new farm. And little did I know, it's actually the shed to this deer. So I now have 3 sheds to him with only 1 year access on the property. So that was kind of cool, but he's another deer. It's at the top of the list. I have not got pictures of him this year. I got pictures of him all throughout shed season, and he was actually starting to grow his antlers back, and then he completely disappeared off the radar. So I'm assuming he's alive, but I don't know that for sure. I went back and looked a little bit ago, and my first picture actually of him was October 18th last year. So that's still, you know, 3 weeks away. So I'm hoping and assuming he's still alive and we'll be back on the property, and will be a fun one to catch up with. But he, as I was talking about buck personalities, once he moved onto the farm last year, he was all over it. If I would have spent a little more time hunting that property, I'm sure I would have caught up to him or had an opportunity at him or at least seen him. He ran all over the farm, daylight, everything. And that's another reason I think he is an older deer, just because we've seen that where these deer get really old and they get pretty comfortable with their surroundings and seem to move in daylight even more once they get past that 5-6 year old time frame. So we'll see. It's going to be exciting. Hopefully when he first shows up on trail camera, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it'll be soon. So over these next few days and weeks, I'll be diving into more of this on the daily blog series with regards to chasing these deer and their personalities and how that plays in the strategy. But everything's shaping up to be a good season. I put a ton of time this off season into improving these properties, put in a lot of food plots, not just for myself, but for other guys. I mentioned we had that drought, but everything seems to be pulling through okay, and just really anxious to see how everything plays out. We're actually gonna go to a couple youth hunts now that Collins and Kaleb had opening day youth season. Always fun to have those hunts kick things off for us. Those guys had a couple of great hunts. And I also mentioned the elk hunt. So I'll be working on putting together the full hunt over the next week or so, and we'll let you know where you can watch that. But for now, I'll play a little teaser that Grant put together on our drive home. It was an incredible trip. I'm excited to share the whole story. And then after that, we're going to come back to Josh and the other guys as they start their storylines as well. So really looking forward to the season. You know, other than catching up with some of these bucks, the goal is just to enjoy the process and have as much fun as I possibly can throughout this season. Just enjoy the chase. So we appreciate you guys watching, and looking forward to a great season.
All right, day one, here we go.
It was chaos in there. Absolute chaos.
Hey, that's him. We gotta go. That's unbelievable.
This is insane. Go on him. What are the chances?
That is the culmination of an unbelievable week right there.
Welcome back to Midwest Whitetail. Today is September 19th, and it is opening day of youth season here in Iowa. I've actually got Garrett with me today. Garrett and I actually did some youth hunting last year at a different piece of property, but we only saw some does. We're trying to get him his first buck last year, and we're still trying to get him his first buck this year as well. As you guys can recall, we are at the Prospect Farm, and the deer that we are after today is the Tall Brow 10. And for the past 5 sits that I've had out here, just scouting, I've actually encountered this buck. We have a southeast wind. Conditions are super favorable. We actually, yesterday through tomorrow, it's going to be lows of 40s, highs of like 60s. So the conditions are absolutely beautiful. It's perfect. Got Casey with us. Garrett's excited as well. Hopefully we can get him his first buck today, but we're going to wrap everything up and start walking in, and hopefully get back to you once we get positioned. Well guys, we just got set up, and it's probably about a 500, 600 yard walk back here. But Garrett, I, and Casey took advantage. There's a little bit of a wind, and their train actually just went past, so we took advantage of that, snuck in here, got in perfectly. And this back corner is actually where these deer really congregate from. Most of these deer really come out of this little thicket. I'm excited. I think Garrett's excited. Casey's excited too. We've got Casey in the backpack. She's never been deer hunting before, so it should be fun for all of us, but time's it coming out? What do you mean you don't know? I'm gonna say 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. That'd be nice. Till then. Just gotta take that dip down. That's exactly what we wanted to do. Now we just need it to be a buck. See him? I can't get on him right there. Hey, do you see that buck behind him? Can you get on him? Can you get on him? Buddy, right here, buddy. Right here, look, he's on the side. Do you see him? Can you see him, buddy? No, don't shoot there. He's got a buck in front of him. You can't shoot right there, okay? Just take deep breaths. You can't shoot yet. Are you on his shoulder? No, not right there. That's head on. Yep. Just be on him if he turns broadside. As soon as he turns broadside. Here you go. Here you go. Maybe. Buddy, if you can put it on his shoulder, you can kill him. Right there. Don't. Reload. Hurry up. Get on him. Take a breath. Take your time. Take a deep breath. Oh, nice ball! Yes! Nice Oh my God, dude!
Hello.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, bud. How's it going?
I just smoked a big one.
You did not.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Really? That's awesome.
It was awesome.
Are you serious? Look at this picture.
Well, guys, it's about 10 minutes after the shot, and Garrett called his dad. He's on his way. Collins is actually hunting with Donovan right now. I think they're going to be on their way here relatively soon, but I think Garrett's pretty antsy to go see this deer, so we're going to go take a peek at this deer real quick, and then we're going to wait for everyone and just stay by the deer and make sure the coyotes don't get him in or anything. So let's go check him out, huh, buddy?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh, nice job, buddy. Dude, that is a stud. That is such an old deer.
Hey guys, welcome back to Midwest Whitetail. It is September 19th and Donovan and I are out here this afternoon for opening night of youth season here in Iowa. This afternoon we decided to come to a standing bean field. This is one of the last green bean fields in this area, and we actually had to set up out in the field a little ways. We got a southeast wind at about 10 miles an hour, and it's kind of cut in this corner, and we set up out here because they've been feeding out here in this last green patch out in this field, and looking forward to it. It's going to be a cool evening. I think it's going to be in the low 60s, high 50s by the time prime time's here, so the deer should definitely be up on their feet and moving, and looking forward to it. You ready? All right, see if we can't get it done tonight. buddy. You just dropped a stud. Yeah, buddy. Oh, you don't have no idea how proud I am of you right now. That is a giant for your first deer. Give me some. Dude, I'm so proud of you. There's deer. Dude, there's bucks everywhere tonight. Oh. It might be a little bit dark, but I could not call Donovan off another deer. We have had so many close encounters on bucks. He has been hunting bucks for 3 years now. He's had misfires. He's had about anything that you could ever think of to not be able to shoot a buck. And it's all been my fault for the most part. And here we are tonight, and he just dropped a stud in the beans. I am so proud of you, buddy. Yes! Alright, we gotta call some people now. What do I need? This feels pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, guys, here they are. We got these bucks out in some better light this morning. I want to give you guys a little bit better look at them, and just kind of want to talk about why we had the success we did last night. And you know, last week I had talked about me and Donovan were going to try and chase a buck on a property, and went and checked some trail cameras. And unfortunately, that buck was super nocturnal, so I needed to change game plans a little bit, and that led me and Kaleb to talking about, you know, we always talk about looking for fields that are green this time of year, and we brainstormed about some spots, and I had a spot that I actually hadn't spent much time on this summer, and so I went out there last Monday and checked it out, and what do you know, there was still a ton of green beans out there. One side of the farm was corn, the other was beans, so that's why we ended up there. And I'm going to let Kaleb talk a little bit more about why we key so much into these bean fields or green sources this time of year, because that's really what both these bucks, that's why we killed these deer.
Yeah, so the reason that we actually try keying in on these beans is most people in Iowa understand that beans is king in the summer, and most of these bucks are coming off of their summer patterns, but some of them still stay pretty tight on these summer patterns. But the best thing to look for these bucks that still are pretty tight on their summer patterns is the seclusiveness. Both of these spots that Collins and I actually hunted last night are very secluded. They're away from the road. You cannot see these places from the road, so these bucks feel comfortable coming out there in daylight. But another huge strategy that Collins and I try and key on as well is getting out in the field to see the actual movement of these deer. Like I said last night, I've probably been out there scouting for these deer in that particular spot probably 5-6 times this summer, and I actually scouted the night before the hunt as well. And last night was an awesome night. This is, like we said, these two bucks are the first bucks for these kids. I mean, two beautiful mature bucks. And I told Collins, we've been joking around, I told him that this is going to be the best season we have ever had, hands down. And to shoot two mature bucks on opening night and get these kids some success is just something that is going to go a long way. It's going to hit home on the memory book, and I'm looking forward to seeing the season progress. So thank you guys for watching Midwest Whitetail, and I hope to see you back next time.
Well, hey guys, welcome back. Today's September 25th, and as you can see, I'm inside today. So I thought I'd take a moment to kind of update you on what we've been doing. When we left you last time, we were down on the terrace farm getting stuff ready for opener. But interestingly enough, that permission piece is what I've got my most focus on, the one that we call the draw farm. We introduced that back in August. As I mentioned, September 25th, we're only a couple of days away from the Iowa opener. It's going to be next Thursday. And I'm in quite an interesting situation all of a sudden. So we introduced the brow plot last time. That's the one we heavily fertilized. We're getting pictures of that awesome deer that we call the brow buck. And you know, that plot looks phenomenal. For whatever reason, of the three plots, it did the absolute best. It looks great, and we're getting a really big deer on there. It's a different buck besides the brow buck. Don't really have a name for him per se. He's just a very tall tined 10, and a beautiful buck, one that I would be absolutely thrilled to put my tag on. But where this is interesting is when I deployed that Cuddy Link system last week, I've got him on three cameras in daylight, and very frequently. I gotta think he's bedding right around that food plot, and with, like I mentioned, opening day approaching, all of a sudden we have a really nice cold front coming through, high barometric pressure, a strong resemblance to last year on October 3rd when Max and I encountered that really big 10-pointer on public land. So
Where I find myself right now is trying to decide exactly what to do. And so I'll just kind of run you guys through my scenarios here. There's 3 of them. As you see in this drone shot right now, this is where we have the stand. This is where I'm getting photos of him in these 2 spots. You can't see the 3rd camera, but it's pretty dang close. And the trouble is that cold front, as of right now, is being accompanied by a northwest wind. So for where that stand is, as awesome as it would look, I feel like we're gonna be pushing that scent right into the food plot. And if he was the only deer coming into the plot, I wouldn't necessarily be too worried about it, but I feel like we're gonna have to fool all the does that are coming through before him, obviously. So it seems like a risky option, one that doesn't seem to, in my head, lead to success. So option 2, if you look across the field here, there is a couple of different trees that I think I could get a tree stand in where Scrape Island, as I call it, it's where we have that camera, would be in bow range. But that being said, the deer and a lot of those deer are bedded very, very close. So we'd have to get in there sometime where we could do the least amount of damage, and I'm just not sure it's quite worth it. So it's a great predicament to be in. And obviously option 3 would be just not to hunt them because we don't have the right wind. It does look like on the 3rd, after those north winds, we're gonna be accompanied by a south wind, which I think would work. That's kind of what we set the stand up for in the first place. So I don't know, I'm not really sure what we're gonna end up doing. Got a couple of days to decide, but all I know is I hope that he continues the pattern and that in the next few days I can come up with a good plan. My gut is telling me, you know, last year I made the mistake with that 10-pointer not to get aggressive, knowing that we had a good chance. You know, this is kind of just a big risk versus reward, and I really don't know what I'm gonna do, but my gut feeling is telling me that we have to find a way to be on that food plot come opening day. So beautiful buck. That farm is producing great, and it's a very humbling thing to have 2 bucks of that caliber now to be going after. And with any luck, we'll make the right decision and hopefully be sitting behind that tall buck on opening day. So very excited. These next few days, I'm gonna be just deciding what to do. This weekend, we're gonna be making more of a finite plan, and just very excited to get in a tree regardless of whether we decide to target this buck. So appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully by this coming Thursday, we'll have a good plan in place.
Hey guys, September 27th, Hunter and I are out here on the town farm today. We put a little fertilizer in. This food plot that we just put that fertilizer in is a little bit behind. It's only got a couple rains since we've planted it back in early August. We're 4 days out, looking forward to it, super excited. It's kind of weird that it's almost here, but anyway, as far as this farm goes, we've got 3 bucks on here. 2 8-pointers that my intern Hunter is gonna be targeting. And there's 1 9-pointer with a big kicker off his base we're gonna call a unicorn buck. And so there's 3 deer on this farm that we're gonna be targeting. I kinda wanna give you guys a little update on kind of some of the bucks that I'll be chasing this fall. Back on the home farm, I've got 2 bucks. One is the double split buck, who I've had tons of pictures of last year, all summer, all fall. Ended up getting shot in November. We found a shed in January. He's back. I filmed him earlier this summer, and he kind of runs around with a big 9-pointer. Not the most high-scoring deer, but that deer's 6 years old, so he's definitely going to be a target. Definitely one that I'll put on the list. Looking forward to chase those deer. I've got a couple pictures of them here recent, and they've kind of moved off a little bit since they've kind of dispersed into their fall ranges. That 9-pointer's been there quite a bit. The double split deer I think is on the farm north, which I also have permission on. So once the crops get out, I'll kind of shift my focus to that farm and kind of start making my move and running more cameras. It's just tough with all the crops in right now. So definitely looking forward to getting back there and hunting those deer. Like I said, that double split buck will be my #1 deer this fall, so hopefully we can catch up to him. As far as my southern Iowa farms I have permission on down here, we don't really have any good bucks showing up. The creek bottom farm where I killed my bow buck last year, we just got a couple cameras out. We got an observation set hung last week. We moved the stand that I actually killed out of further down the creek where a big draw kind of dumps in. There's CRP all the way around it and a bunch of draws that, you know, dump right into that creek bottom. So it's a super awesome spot during the run. Definitely looking forward to getting in there. That's gonna be one of my favorite stands. As far as the CRP farm where I killed my big buck during late muzzleloader last year, we don't have anything showing up there yet. We got a couple good 4-year-olds. I'm not too worried about, you know, not having any deer on these farms. I think with time and as the rut approaches, these deer will definitely move into these farms. So I also just got permission on a really nice river farm. Cooper and I actually shed hunted this river farm last spring and found a really nice shed, so hopefully we can catch up to that deer. We got one stand hung, we got 4 or 5 cameras out there, so probably keep you guys updated on the daily video blog as far as what starts to show up on that farm. Really looking forward to it. Should be a really awesome farm. I've also got a really unique opportunity to keep hunting Winky's farm. I became good friends with the landowner who bought Bill's farm, and he's gonna let me shoot some does out there again this year, so I'm really looking forward to that. I've got a couple bucks that have been showing up from last year. The bladed 10, who is 6 years old this year, he's still alive out there, so you know, if the landowner kills one of those deer, we'll definitely go out there and show you guys that. As far as my opening day goes, I won't be targeting any bucks. I don't have anything showing any you know, daylight activity, and really nothing that I want to, you know, get too aggressive and go in there and hunt. But you know, Josh has a unique opportunity on his hands where his deer's been showing a lot of daylight activity. I think he's been daylight every single night here the past week or two. So you know, if I had that situation, I definitely would probably dive in there and try to get that deer killed. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what Josh can come up with on Tuesday with this big cold front coming. You know, probably just gonna hang back and shoot a couple does here opening day on Thursday. I think we may hunt with Mike and Jared over in eastern Iowa this weekend, just doe hunting over there. So definitely looking forward to it. We're 4 days out. I can't believe it's already here. So we'll keep bringing you guys the action on the daily video blogs as the season starts on Thursday. Looking forward to it. Keep following along, and as always, we appreciate you guys watching.